Alright guys, here you go. This is a British Field Marshal deck, 100% budget, all standard and limited cards, no specials, no elites. Perfectly budget, low cost deck, anybody should be able to do. This is based on my collection of cards, obviously, so if you're missing one or two here, you could craft them. They're very cheap, obviously, because this is 100% budget. I did fiddle around for about an hour and a half with different options with British. I had a British USA, British Germany, trying some different things. I ended up settling on a British Japan Air Aggro style of deck. That worked really well. I won 7-2, so it took 9 games. I won 7, lost 2, so I went to final boss, bounced back, final boss, bounced back twice, and then finished it off. So it took 9 games total, just under an hour. So I'll take you through the deck right now. I'll explain to you how to mully it, what you're looking for to start off, what your lead hand needs to look like, and it really does need to look like a very specific starting hand, or else you could be in trouble really fast with this deck, just because you don't have a lot of the variety that some of the specials and elites can give you. You really need to make sure you get this kind of start, so you really got to mulligan aggressively looking for the low cost starts with the bombers and whatnot. So anyways, we'll dive right into the deck now, and I'll walk through it real quick, and then you can go through the games. All the games are here. All 9 games are in this video. Don't expect that you're going to watch all 9 games. I'll put chapters down below so you can jump to different games if you want, and I'll explain who it was against and what the result was. And so you can jump around or whatever and see what you want to see. But at the end of the day, I wanted to put the whole lot of 9 games in there so that you knew I actually did 9 games straight in under an hour with this deck and got Field Marshal done. Here's the deck. Let's go through it. Alright, here we are. We're on the KARDS website, the KARDS.com deck builder, and here's the deck, alright? And I've saved it into the deck builder there as a public deck called the British December 2020 Field Marshal Budget British deck. I'll put the link in the description down below anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. Hey, and while you're down there clicking that link to go look at the deck, hit that subscribe button and that like button to help support the channel and my videos that are coming out. And of course, you can get notified every time I put out a video. So while you're going down there, I'm going to slam those buttons, greatly appreciated. So here we go, looking at the deck. So the thing about the deck that was really complex was getting enough 1-drops. You really want to have a good start with your 1-drops to be able to get on the board so that you can control the tempo. There's a lot of Jaggro out there coming at you with the 2-1s with only 1 health. So having a unit on the board early really helps. Also, if you could start the game on the play, you could also have a little bit of an advantage with tempo to be able to control the game. If you start off on the draw, it's a little trickier. You're hoping the opponent doesn't play anything, but if they do, you just get a little bit of catch up. The best card in those situations is Swordfish. The Bomber is the best one because it doesn't take damage back, and it will just be able to clear the board for you and help get board control. So what you're doing in your mullies is you're basically mullying everything. I don't care what you get in your opening hand. If you don't have 1-drops, everything goes. You don't keep air superiorities, you don't keep type 93 by itself. You get rid of everything. You're looking for the Hummers, the Gladiators, and the Swordfish are your top ones. So getting a Hummer, getting a Gladiator, getting a Swordfish, these are your top priorities. You've got to get some of these cards in your opening hand. If you don't, and you end up jumping into the 3-drops, because you can see there's no 2-drops, so you're jumping into the 3s after that, you're going to be way behind, and realistically, you'll see these are the games that I lost. So you really want to make sure you get these drops. As I said, leading off with the Swordfish is ideal. This deck evolves nicely down the road. If you get HMS Illustrious, for example, you drop Hummer and get it out of there, because HMS will give you a couple of bombers. There's other cards that you'll be able to add in as you build up your collection. So basically, going through it, Hummer, good starter card. If you can get this to the front and have a bomber in the back, and you can not air superiorities, you drop close air supports. You can play these on the Hummer in the front line. This guy's got Fury. I had a couple of games, I think, where I pounded a couple of Furies with a close air support buff on it. And, you know, it's a 2-2 or, you know, a double tap for 2 damage each time, or 3 damage if you get lucky. I think I had one really high up there, but they killed it before I got to actually deal the damage out. So dropping a Gladiator on the back line is a good starting card. Problem with the fighter is it takes damage back, right? So that's unfortunate. It's more of a trade than it is taking control. But it is a good 1-drop, and it's good to have these in there so that you could drop these down and put close air support on your bombers, ideally. Because your bombers will shoot past guards, remember that, right? The bombers don't care about guards, and the only thing that stops the bomber is the fighter. So if they drop a fighter on the support line, you need fighters to be able to get around it, or you're trading in your bombers on the fighter. That's all, is what it is. But that's where air superiority comes in. You get your 1-drops down. On the turn 2, having a 1-drop plane down with an air superiority in your hand is a superior start. Superior. It's amazing. You put the plane down and then you're dealing 3 damage. Most units they're going to drop on turn 1, 2, even if it's Jaggro or German Aggro, or a mirror match, you're going to be able to clear it with an air superiority for 1 credit and then still hit face for 1 damage most likely. The Type 93s, again, it's kind of like the air superiority. If you get a bomber or fighter down, the 1-drops, you're going to drop a Type 93, it's going to give you a buff to 2 attack, and that helps clear out some of those Panzer 35s or 34th Infantries and whatnot that got moved to the front, and especially if you start off the game on the draw instead of the play, that gives you a chance to sort of catch up a little bit and deal some damage out, because you'll find that the Germany, Japan aggro will usually lead off with the 34th. When they do that, you know they're setting up the Panzer 35. You want to be able to put down a bomber right away, and when they move up, you could buff your bomber with Type 93, take out the infantry or the tank, and then you just got the 1 unit left to deal with. Hopefully you can get an air superiority as well, because that is kind of a tough combo to deal with at the beginning. All right, so then when we start getting down to the later game, we're looking at the Hurricanes for the Fury attack, and the Hurricane Mk IIA has the Fury, but then you also got the Mk I has the Blitz, which is also very huge on turn 5 to be able to blitz out and hit. This deck is all about face. You need to calculate every turn, do I need to trade or do I hit face? Hitting face is your #1 priority. You don't want to waste cycles trading units because this does not have a long end game in it. You really want to get done and kill the enemy fast. We do have at the tail end of this, we got the zeros, huge value with the 0. Remember that deployment deal 1 damage can hit face. So again, calculate whether it's even worth pinging a unit with that 1. If it's not worth hitting that unit with the 1, hit face. Chip away, just keep chipping away. And then you got your standard Spitfires in here for body. This is just what I had in my collection, to be able to put body. 4 of these 5.5s and the 166 is the only 6.6 I have in my collection. Threw it in there. I did have a Lancaster bomber in here earlier. I got a gold Lanny. It's a beautiful bomber, but it just was way too slow for this deck. If you're at turn 12 in this deck, you're really struggling. You're probably not going to win. You really need to get the game going a lot faster than that. You need a much faster tempo. All right. I have 1 amphibious assault in my collection and that's it, so I have that in here. It's a good removal, and so if you do have more amphibious assaults, I'd probably say swap out the honors. I do put 2 honors in here and they did come in clutch a couple of times, you'll see in the videos, but I mean realistically, you know, statistically wise, I'd say the honor is probably not the best card, but I threw it in there. I used it a lot in draft, so I thought maybe I'll try it in this deck as well, and it actually played quite well. The 26 Engineer Regiment was just to be able to get a cheap, good sized body on the board that also buffs the defense of the plane. So if you put this down, it could buff your Gladiators and your Swordfish and whatnot so that they have a higher defense. And the Coldstream Guards, it's the only one I have. I throw that in there to give me a naval support. Don't particularly care about having the guard, but a naval support by itself is kind of just a dead card in your hand, sort of like if you could play a unit and get it for free, you could play a unit and then get it. It's like having 41 cards in your deck instead of 40, right? So I put the Coldstream in, deploy that out, get the naval out, and if you combine that with 26 engineers, and then you can play the naval on some of your fighters or bombers and hit face even harder with that, works out really well. So that's basically the deck, and just remember, mulligan to the 1-drops and go face as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and you'll get your Field Marshal in less than an hour, just like I did. Hey, good luck.